Hi, Jasmine here for another episode or video, if you will, on Sober and Fabulous, my channel on YouTube. I took a few days off and for good cause. I've been diagnosed with shingles. I have a lovely rash right here, and this whole part of my head hurts, burns, itches. I am not that old, and I feel like I've been diagnosed with an old person disease. So dealing with that and off from school because I am highly contagious to anyone that has not had chickenpox. So taking time to rest and heal, which is important, and going through a lot of stuff. So what causes shingles? Stress causes shingles. And I can sit here and smile about it. Last night, up till 4 a.m. in pain, not smiling at all. So today I want to talk about just something that I just talked about in therapy, which I think is so important. And I don't even know how to title it or anything. I don't think that's important. So stress. We'll title it stress. There you go. I am a push things down, don't talk about it, always been that way, and that's not healthy. Well aware of that. And it's a natural habit. I think to myself, well, this is my problem. I don't need to talk about it. I don't need to deal with it. Now that I've been doing therapy, I do feel the need to deal with it more so than I did, say, a year ago, where my dealing with anything wrong in my life was, I would turn to drinking and drugs. And I'm so happy to not be there. That's not what I do. But I also had a big issue with sleep. And being depressed, I have talked about it. I actually felt like I had a heavier sense of weight on me, not talking about how much I weigh, but just that there was a heaviness, and I would wake up after sleeping for 12, 16 hours and still feel so tired. And I know they say there's something, about oversleeping, which I do agree with to a degree, but when you're depressed, and for me, when I was depressed, it was like I just couldn't wake up. I was in a fog. So that, again, is how certain drugs actually, stimulated me, or so I thought. And at the same time, they didn't. They were hurting me. And I'm so happy that that's not a coping mechanism for myself. So what I did after I was diagnosed on Sunday night at the hospital with the shingles, and, I thought when the doctor was like, what are you stressed about? And I was like, well, this is actually a good time for me. I'm not super stressed about anything. I have stressors in my body. I have fibromyalgia. I just had an MRI. I'm going to have knee surgery over the summer. Nothing major. But, those are still things that add stress to your body physically. And then my mind. So, I brushed it off. I was like, I'm not stressed. I don't know what you're talking about. So funny. So yesterday, I started to think about, this is a whole day later, what was stressing me. And so what I did is I got out a pen and paper and I just free wrote. I wrote down everything that I felt stressed about. Some of it was, I didn't even realize it was in there. And I think that's so important. Journaling has definitely become important. And one of my problems that I don't think it's necessarily a problem, but it can be. I tend to over positive situations. So I may come off to people as annoyingly positive. I come off to myself as annoyingly positive. However, I really love that part of my personality, so I'm not gonna make it go away or try to change it by any means. So what I feel like is happening, though, that is so healthy for me in this stretch of therapy that I've been doing, is that I'm much more mindful of how stress is impacting me, and then I feel like I've always been insightful, but I feel like I'm actually using the tools that I've been given to work through things. So what I did yesterday is I started that list. I titled it why am I stressed? And just went down the list, and some of them were interesting. I'm not going to get into my list. That's private. So then, after I felt like I got everything on paper, I flipped the paper and I wrote at the top, what am I happy for? Or what makes me happy? And I started my list, and I realized that some of the things that I was stressed about, I was actually glad to have in my life. And so there was just, I was able to look at things in a different perspective. And I liked that I finished it with what am I happy about, because I do believe in being grateful and being happy. And then today I tore out those pieces of paper and I burned them. And there is such therapy in writing things down and then burning it. And obviously in a safe, contained, area. The first time I did this was in the aftercare when I finished rehab. So we had individual therapy and then we had group therapy. And it was at the house that we stayed in. And we were not that big of a house, but our therapist split us into two groups. So there were maybe 5 of us in a group. And we had a little fire pit outside, and we went into a room all together, and we could draw, we could write. She gave us like maybe a half an hour or so to draw. And if we had letters, if we had journaling, she had told us in advance. So I actually got some journaling from some trauma, and then I drew, some people wrote. So then we went outside after we did that, and we each got a chance to talk about what we were releasing and what was getting burned. We also started the fire together, and then so we talked about it, put it in the fire, and watched it burn. And there really is a beautiful release in watching something that you've written down that really hurts you burn. I do believe in that, and I did it today, and it made me feel very good. So does that just automatically get rid of my stressors? No, but these are steps to take in order to make me feel less stressed. And then what I also realized last night when I was up till 4 a.m. in pain, itching, and I can't itch it. It's like, don't itch your giant. It basically, I feel like it's one giant chicken pox. So, and it's burning. I said to myself last night, I was like, I am in a bad mood, and I'm going to sit in this bad mood because I hurt. And it's that alone is stressful, like there's no getting out of it right now. Like, I'm just going to sit in this bad mood. I was by myself, talking to myself, and that is so healthy, It's okay to have bad days. It's okay to sit in a negative moment or a negative, day of, especially when things happen that are negative and frustrating. This, not, I feel like there is a true balance to our world, and I've always loved the yin yang and the concept of, the good and the bad, the negative and the positive, that in order for there to be balance, you have to have both. And that is frustrating because there has to be bad in order to be good. And I feel like it's also, for me, would we know true happiness if we didn't know true sorrow? And now I'm getting philosophical, but it's a good point to make. If everything was just handed to you, would you know how to be happy with what you had? I don't think so. I don't know. Not everything was handed to me. I'm certainly very blessed right now that, family have helped me and friends have helped me throughout my life. And I try to do that whenever I can too. I think that is a beautiful part of being a human being, paying it forward. If you have the means to, I sometimes don't have the means to, and I'd still give someone my last bit of money, because I know I could make more. But I'm not getting into that. So, but being a good person, you know. And then at the same time, like, bad things happen to good people, and that's frustrating. It's like, when you're little, I feel like they tell us if you're good, everything's going to be good. And there wasn't always a lot, you know, I had a good childhood, but there were still some crazy things that happened. And that happens within anyone's life. So the point I'm trying to make is that it's okay to not feel happy. And I'm going to sign off with that today. Have a great day.